continuous noise.
I'm doing work.
पूरा है कल का पूरा।
बराबर। ये फोर कब लगा था? इसमें लगा था।
Move from there. Acha, you want him to stand?
You finished that short work? Yeah.
Yeah.
हाँ. आप रुक के मत करिए.
अच्छा, फिर से एक बार बात करेंगे. अब रुक जाइए. कीजिए. एक मिनट फिर से करेंगे. हमको मत देखिए, आप सीधा उधर ही देखते रहिए. कीजिए. हाँ, कीजिए. बस. Just one second.
और सर तो क्या हेलो हेलो which will go there.
का आवाज
Yeah. That's what I'm doing.
मंत्री होना हाँ एक साथ पूरे है ये इसी का जमा
ऊपर खुला अब तो ऊपर गया तो वहाँ से भी हटवाओ
नहीं बस अब छोड़ दो, अब पीछे हो जाओ, अब सिर्फ पीछे हो रुक जाओ बॉस।
क्या देख
सही
हाँ गुप्तन को
हाँ 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 खोल देता हूँ भैया, 1 मिनट भैया।
क्या हुआ?
पकड़ो।
पाणी दोघांचे कॅसेट संपवतो आम्ही तर
उन लड़कों को रोक रहे
बाबूश
यस
Uncle, which picture you are doing it?
सुरभि
हमको इंग्लिश नहीं आता है
अमूल सुरभि सुरभि
येते ना ते आठ बार आमे कितना मां बारह थे और हमें देखो ये राम हिरन ने मार दिया है सीता से बाटी में बैठी है और राम राज्य स्टाफ में
नदी के रहते
ना वो आगे आराम है
सीते तो
आठ में मां बारह
आरती होती ना त्याची पहिली
ब्लू कलर
ब्लू नाही रे ब्लू जाके भी वापस शूट है ना स्टार संडे
वही बोलते हैं
अरे वो तो बहुत
अरे सही कमाते हैं
कैसे पास कर रहे हो?
थोड़ा जोड़ा ले जाओ
क्या क्रेज?
जाओगे नहीं
लगता है लेकिन but
2 कैमरा, 1 मास्टर।
if you see the edit it looks like a big one.
शूटिंग ले लिया मंदिर ही
कटिंग नहीं करते उन लोग।
समझ गया
डॉक्यूमेंट्री मास्टर हो
मंदिर ही शूटिंग हो रही है बाहर है
सेकंड ट्रॉली पे ट्रेन के ऊपर।
उसका ट्रॉली तो है
जरा काला तो कौन सी जाओ
तो वही है
ड्रॉप कर दो आइडिया
नहीं नहीं भाई
आचरण देखो पहले ट्रायल बेसिस
अच्छा भगवान की सीढ़ियां है तो
आचरण
क्या मैं तो ये सारा पगलिया है ये सब वे बनियोड़ा है हमारा सारा जी का वे नहीं आते
कालचे वरचे रूम दिलं तर काय गरम होत होतं ना मध्ये गरम होतं
फैन लगाते नहीं रहता
फॅन बंद कर ती हवा अजून खाली आहे
देखो
क्या है लोग यार वो बेचारे नाटक क्या प्रकार की हो रही है
you're from there?
पहला तुम आदमी लाइफ देखो
शहर इस रीजन में क्या मालूम है टॉवर्स नहीं लग रहे प्रॉब्लम है
मामा के पास बैक साइड
इधर आ जा
बस
मेरे मेरे मुरली हेड़े चढ़ी में मारी
रुक जाओ रुक जाओ, हम जब भी बोलेंगे तब आना और हमारी तरफ नहीं देखना, समझ गए ना? आओ। आ जाओ।
भाई साहब थोड़ा पीछे पीछे जाओ।
नहीं नहीं ठीक है ठीक है, और 2 कदम पीछे जाओ।
थोड़ा पीछे आप ही अंदर लेके जाइए।
आ जाओ, पानी अंदर लेके जा।
और कुछ? This is Maharani Resorts, Heritage Hotel #1, arranged for us by kindly in Ranakpur, near the Ranakpur temple.
एक सेकंड ना बस।
WELCOM. No, it doesn't. No.
That hotel is
No.
the hotel there.
But
They using the welcome.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they say, na?
WELCOM they are using. It is a typical Delhi.
Sundar, should I say something?
Anchoring.
Your man's coming.
नहीं 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 आया सर, मैं बोलूँगा।
This is the limit.
Follow.
No follow. I'm going left of camera.
चाहिए
Avoid more down. रात होते हैं लाइट पर ये ना ले लाते हैं वो मिलता है
ओके, चाय वाला आइए। आप लोग दोनों जाइए। बैठो आगे चलो।
Check out this.
Oh!
Nice streak of light.
This is all camel wala है, Lebanese.
चलो भरो पानी।
कैसे जाते हैं? जब आप वहाँ पे वहाँ से 40 किलोमीटर
Is that okay? What I? Yeah. Hi. See. Should I? See, I was myself very curious, and I was wondering why they should be there. First, I didn't know where they were. I thought of Khajuraho only. And then I thought of working as a PhD thesis on this doctoral dissertation. But my guide, Dr. Guriye, he told me that if you take Khajuraho, since they are also in Bhubaneswar, at least those sites were known, Bhubaneswar, Konarak, so why not take at an all India level? So then I started working at an all India level, but then when I started that, I found that they were not only at these well-known places like Khajuraho, Bhubaneswar, Konarak, and then Osia in Rajasthan, but we visited this temple of Modera. There, of course, there are quite a few, but when we visited one temple, around it also we started visiting. So similar pattern, was noticed. If they are found on the, see in Gujarat there is a pattern. This is what I discovered when I was working on it. There is a pattern in the architectural scheme. They would be only on the part called Narathara, on the plinth part or on the Kakshasana, which is on the balcony or on the pillars. They won't show on the main walls as the Khajuraho or the Orissa temple shows. Similarly, Mysore also, Karnataka region, your Hoysala temples, very in the decorative scrolls, but they are quite erotic, because we visited also the Mysore region, several temples there. Then Maharashtra, even Ambarnath temple near Bombay, there's quite a few and quite erotic, and they are again on the Narathara row, and also some of them on the pillars. So yeah, not change. It is also some ideas also come in, that these are for removing evil also. That is, for removing vigna, that is obstacles. So they also started portraying ashlila, that is obscenity also in it. So some of the poses are shown that way. And also because in this period, Tantrism developed. So there are certain practices which started influencing. I am not saying that these temples were tantric, but some influence would come in. So the artists who have seen such practices or who have heard about these, like the poets of the period, there is one Shemendra who describes he was a Kashmir poet of 11th century. So he is describing all these orgies and several rites which the tantrikas were having in the midnight orgies. So and also he was making fun of them. Similarly, the artists also, there is that trend. The artists also want to caricature the tantrikas, the tantric gurus, and they started portraying them in ludicrous poses also. So not that these are tantrikas, okay, but some of them are just making fun of the the false tantrikas. So all sorts of such things come in. So according to the regions, you get the pattern where to put them, and but Khajuraho becomes important because they have placed them on the walls, and they are quite large in size, and therefore we can see them. But they have also given aesthetic treatment to these erotic figures. Unlike our Ambarnath or Modera, Modera Surasundaris and Apsaras are very nicely done. They are very, very beautiful figures. But when you see their erotic figures, they are very crudely carved. But whereas in Khajuraho, even these erotic figures, they have been given special treatment by the artists. They are placed on the special part of the walls, large in size, and some of them are quite aesthetically, good. Particularly some of the couples on the Devi Jagdamba temple and the Chitragupta temples.
But Tantra and Purana have always been so divorced from each other. How come we find virgin?
See, in this period, when Tantra start, say about 4th, 5th century AD, we get the Tantric texts. So that time there is opposition by the Brahmanas of the Tantras, because their own, they were the priest class, the Brahmanas, the Smruti Brahmanas. So they oppose, because in Tantra there is no priest class like what you have in the temples, pujakas. So they started opposing, but gradually they also starting absorbing their mantras and yantras and mandalas and such things, because these magical aspects started getting percolating in Indian culture, because many places, not only Puranas but many other texts have also taken into account. They are influenced by Tantra. In this period, Tantra is absorbed, but not Tantrism of the extreme sect like Kapalikas. Now there are these Kapalikas, who are gruesome sects, sort of, in the sense that they used to sacrifice beautiful women to Devi, or they would eat in the skull of a Brahman. It's sort of a rebellion sect. But yes, into also on other religious aspects like Nibandhas, and there are some other texts also, and also other religious systems. Even Jainism is influenced by Tantra, and Buddhism is also influenced by Tantra. So it's a way of, some sort of ritualistic way which influenced in that period. So, but at Khajuraho, what we find is the Mishra Tantra, Tantra Purana, that is Tantric Puranic religion. Puranas themselves, they divide themselves, they say that religion can be Tantric, Puranic or Mishra. Yeah, I was telling you about the Kapalikas, the extreme Tantric sect. Now there are some scholars who believe that Khajuraho temples were associated with such sects, because they saw these erotic sculptures, and they saw some of the ascetics which are there, in relation to women. So they said these are all Kapalikas, and the temples were built by the Kapalikas. Now this is such a unstudied statement, because if the extreme tantrikas are over, if the tantrikas are there who are practicing tantrikas, the genuine tantrikas, whoever they are, they won't expose their own doctrines. And besides Kapalikas, they don't have their monastic orders. They are individual monks, so they are not very organized sect. So they won't be the type who would be connected with such organized temples. Khajuraho, if you see their architecture and sculpture, it's a highly organized, very structured architecture. It is very mathematically calculated, everything in the temple. So this is what you don't expect from a sect like Kapalikas, who at least look indisciplined.
So under what particular sect would the Khajuraho?
Yeah, so well, when I was doing research on this, what I found is that a moderate sect of Shaiva Siddhanta, there is some evidence of this sect at Khajuraho for the Shaiva temples. See, and for Vishnu temple, that particular image of Vaikuntha, the esoteric image of Vaikuntha, which was a very precious image, which King Yashovarman, the Chandela king, he brought from his overlord, the Pratiharas of Kanauj, and Kanauj king in turn had got it from the Chamba region. So it is from the Himalayan region, this Vaikuntha originally, not the present one, that I won't go into detail, but the image was brought. So if the image is from the Himalayan region and Vaikuntha is worshipped by a sect called Pancharatra Vaishnavas, they are the Vaishnava sect of Kashmir school. So for Vishnu temples we get this Kashmir school of Vaishnavism, which are Tantra based but not extreme Tantric. And similarly Shaiva Siddhanta also is Tantra based. It is a Tantra, but which also has right hand Tantra. So these are the sects and associated with Khajuraho. Yeah, iconography, and actually the important one of the important images is that Sadashiva image, which gave me the clue on this Shaiva Siddhanta, because it is Chatushpada, that is, it has 4 legs, which is the most unusual thing for a sculpture to have. We have many arms of the images have many arms, but nowhere you will find 4-legged figures, Chatushpada. So when I was putting diacritical marks on this word pada, I could see that pada, of course it means foot, feet, but also means part of a system, part of a text. So there are Chatushpada means 4 parts. So and the Shaiva texts are also divided into 4 parts: Gnana, Yoga, Kriya and Charya Padas. So this is a pun, by way of a pun, visual pun. The artist is trying to suggest as if this sect. So this is one of the puns which I could see. Yeah. Yeah, architecturally the temples are very highly compact structures. They are built on a large high platform, which demarcates the sacred space from the material universe. And unlike the southern Indian or Orison temples, they do not have their gopurams, or they don't have their enclosure walls. Only these platforms demarcate their space, and they consist of 4 or 5 units, which are again very much unified, in their scheme. The main part, of course, is the sanctum Garbhagruha, and Mahamandapa, Mandapa, hall, which is hall, and then porch. And around the sanctum, there are 4 major temples of Khajuraho which have ambulatory circumambulation path, and these are the 4 major temples of Khajuraho. And those which have ambulatory path, they would be called Sandhara temples, which Andhara means ambulatory and Nirandhara means without ambulatory. So most of the other temples, like Devi Jagdamba, Chitragupta, they are Nirandhara, whereas Lakshmana temple, Vishwanath temple and Kandariya Mahadev, the larger of the lot, they are Sandhara temples. And it is on these Sandhara temples that the architects have used, they have projected those erotic figures on the part which joins the sanctum and the hall. Because in the Sandhara temple, if you draw uh, the lines on the sanctum and the Mahamandapa, the hall for the devotees, and the sanctum of the divinity. If you draw the lines, you can see that there are two equal squares which are overlapping. I will show you that on the plan. And on that overlap portion, which can be taken from the side of the hall as well as side of the sanctum, that is where Jiva and Shiva meet, exactly there they have put erotic figures, and here they have used puns. Not on all erotic sculptures, but only on these figures, because this is a place which can be taken from both sides as in a buffer region. And you know, the important part, the architectural importance of these temples is that shikharas, the spires of these Khajuraho temples, because they are not just curvilinear, but there are mini spires, you know, 84 in number in case of the Kandarya Mahadev, and they are around the main spire, you know, in such a way relationship, as if they are, you know, they are very much attached to them. And the pinnacle of the spire is exactly on the Shiva Linga. You know, if you draw the line, it's a cosmic axis, which you can see.
The Khajuraho temple's contribution to Indian Buddhism are they about the cosmic?
Yeah, it is. I think that the Sutradhara, as they are called, the architects of Khajuraho, they have projected the temple as models of cosmos. Not just in their formal aspects, by these Shungas and Uru Shungas, you know, the principles of holonomy, you know, a part also is conveys the whole. The mini Shunga also conveys, you know, that as in a cauliflower. I mean, I won't go into detail of that, but these people, they have projected the Shaiva scheme, you know, the highest reality is supposed to be formless. So Shiva Linga, which is in the sanctum, is supposed to be the sign of unmanifest, formless, highest reality, Parashiva. And then it's supposed to manifest in, say, 36 tattvas, the cosmic elements, up to the earth element. And the images of Mahesha, say, that is Shiva as dancing, Shiva as slaying Andhakasura Vada and all those murtis. These are the manifestations which is the intermediaries through which Shiva sort of has a relationship with Jagat, the world. But there is this intermediary aspect between Mahesha and the unmanifest as Shiva, that is Vyakta Avyakta, that is Sadashiva, that also is here. So Khajuraho architects, they have through the iconic scheme, they have tried to sort of render the their philosophical, you know, the structure of their philosophy also, the religious system also, in their iconic scheme. So this is, I think, their contribution, because it is the expression of the cosmos, the unmanifest to manifest. And as the devotee circumambulates the temple, he also passes through various manifestations of the highest reality, which are arranged hierarchically, you know, graded manifestation, and then he reaches to the highest. And other thing which I noticed in case of the Lakshmana temple, the Vishnu temple, that the architect has projected the temple as Mount Meru, because Meru is the center of the universe. And they have actually, you know, if you read the dictionary meaning of Mount Meru is that the planets revolve around it, you know, if you read so on Meru. So he has also placed the images of the planets, the grahas, on the plinth of the temple, as if moving around this Vishnu shrine.
You also said in your book that the artists, the Khajuraho artists, usually use double meanings to express it. Can you give us an example?
The Khajuraho, you know, I mean, in this period, you know, Shlesha, that is puns, were used by the poets. I mean, they start from earlier period, 2nd century AD, Ashwagosha onwards, then 6th, 7th century Bana and others. But in this period, complete Shlesha Kavyas are written. That is poems which are just puns. All verses have 2 or 3 meanings. They will talk about Rama, Krishna and Shiva, all three in one. If they would, each verse will read differently on these three aspects. So similarly, they would write on grammar as well as on the account of the king. That is what Hemachandra Acharya has done in Gujarat. So this is a period when puns are very much popular. This is the way they express. Now in Khajuraho, the inscriptions of the Lakshman and particularly the Vishwanath temple, which is dated 999 AD, that is a temple which is now celebrating the millennium because it is exactly 1000 years old, the Vishwanath temple of Khajuraho. And that temple, each and every verse of it is full with double meanings. And also, as I told you about that Sadashiva image which is 4 like Chatushpada, that pun is there. Then the pun is there on the Kharjura, the date palm and the scorpion. Then there are other several puns also. For instance, if they are showing an image of the planet Buddha, that is Mercury, the text would say that it should have Sarpa, that is snake, but Sarpa also means Naga. So Naga also means elephant. So they would, instead of showing the snake, they will put an elephant there as the mount of planet Buddha. That is what they have done. So, so this is how they play on the words. The words are very important, and the Khajuraho poets, they very proudly proclaim that they are son of the grammarian. This Lakshmana temple's poet Madhava Kavi, his name is Madhava Kavi, he says that he is son of a grammarian. So grammar is also very important in that period because to understand the words and their meanings.
Now coming to very general questions, how do you think Indian aesthetics is different from Western aesthetics?
Here we have importance of rasa theory, rasa swada, that of course everybody knows about that, but also what Kumaraswamy pointed out, I would like to mention. He says that the Indian traditional artist doesn't copy directly from nature. He doesn't have a model, to copy, but he produces the image by mental visualization or dhyana, and he draws our attention to the whole of types in art. That is, we have types like Padmini, Hastini, Chitrini, for women. Different types of women are there. Now, if an artist wants to draw a queen, he will not draw a portrait of an actual queen seated before him. He won't copy from the actual woman. But what he will do is, he will portray her as a Padmini type. So it's not the actual portrayal, but of this ideal woman, what he is doing. So this is one of the important points which we have to remember, that this is how it differs, and also we don't have therefore scientific perspective. It is not just from one point the artist looks at, but from several points, and this is what you see if you go to Ajanta. The artists have looked at from several points and the paintings have been shown that way. You can hear me, no?
Yeah.
Why is Khajuraho not
It's a misnomer. Actually, we should not consider it as synonymous with erotic sculpture, because this is a great mistake, and there are hardly 10% or even less than 10% of erotic figures in Khajuraho temples. We are only looking at them, therefore we concentrate on them, and because we look at these erotic figures only, what we are missing is the important divinities which are there. There are so many divinities in yoga position. There are several images of Vishnu seated in yoga asana, and even Kurma, that is Vishnu's tortoise aspect. He is telling his Narada and other 7 rishis, ascetics, about the absolute knowledge he is preaching, and there are several such images which we are missing, and there are hundreds of images of divinities with manuscripts in their hand. You see, we know generally that Saraswati holds manuscripts, or Agni or Brahma hold manuscript, but at Khajuraho even Kartikeya, who is supposed to be a warlord, he is also holding manuscript because he is considered to be a teacher there, teacher of grammar and of some doctrines. So of Katantra grammar. So you see this aspect we are not even looking at, and also the placement of images, which is important because these are very consistently placed in the temple. As I was telling you earlier, the highest reality which has no form, whose symbol is exactly in the center of the sanctum. For instance, if you see this plan, exactly in the sanctum would be the Shivalinga. Then around it, in the cardinal directions are very important in any temple. And here at Khajuraho, there are the Shiva's aspects, the Mahesha, 3 images placed there. And other images, his lesser manifestations, are also placed in the path which the devotee, when he goes into the temple, when he circumambulates, because temples are there for worship. We are only looking at the erotic figures, but important part is that they were meant for worship. So how the devotee must have gone through these images, and the artist has placed these images. For instance, on the door they have always Ganga and Yamuna, which are supposed to purify the devotee. So, and he worships the door divinities. These are the rituals also mentioned in the texts, the Shaiva texts of the period. Similarly, for the Vishnu texts also, you get that the door divinities are first worshipped, then the devotee worships the main divinity. All these, and actually such images are there in the temples. So these are the things which we should not be missing, and when only looking at erotic figures.
Do you think the maker of these pictures was trying to convey a larger message down to generations, like talking to me about the cosmic?
Yes. So what I feel is that the architects, and they must have been guided by religious acharyas, and I have seen some of the images of the religious acharyas in the museum. So there were these religious acharyas who must have guided the architects, because these are not just secular buildings, these are religious buildings, and there are the placement, what we call sthana nirnaya, which are described in the religious texts. They have been followed in these temples, particularly these important temples, Lakshmana, Vishwanath and Kandariya, which I was studying in detail. I could see that. So the Sutradhara, as the architect is called, the architect, the acharyas and the patrons, they are no more, but I think they have left this legacy for us to see this temples as cosmos, the truths which they have left us, the symbolism which we should try to understand. And as we walk also around these temples, we also become part of this sort of a yantra like system. And other thing I want to tell you is about these the two which now you will be concentrating on this, the two I was telling you about the sanctum and the hall. If you draw the lines, you can see the two squares exactly overlap on this portion. Can you see it? And it is on this portion that they have placed those erotic figures, and it is here that they are trying to tell us something much more than erotic. They have also suggested through some of the poses, those head down poses. I was drawing the lines on this head down pose, which are the, yeah, and the lines,
Can you start from saying that I was drawing the...
yeah, you see there are two head down poses. There are two head down poses on these juncture walls, what we call the Sandhi Kshetra, where the sanctum and the hall meet. So I was trying to draw the lines on the photograph of this head down pose on the Kandariya Mahadev temple, and when I drew the lines, it just reminded me of the Kamakala yantra, which is a yantra which is given in the Shilpa text of Orissa, the Shilpa Prakasha. And the text says that these lines which you see, you know, they remind of Kamakala Yantra. Now, the Shilpa text, the Shilpa Prakasha says that Kamakala Yantra should be placed on the walls of the temple of Shiva or of Devi, because it would protect the monument. It is magico-protective. That is one of the functions. But it should be hidden from the outsiders, so that their gaze, you know, they don't look at it. And therefore, the lines of the yantra should be hidden by the Mithuna Murtis. You know, they should carve on it erotic figures, so that, you know, the outsiders, you know, the non-initiated people, they will look at these and they will think that these are erotic figures and they will take delight in that. But those who are the initiated, they will understand what the sculptures are for. So actually what I feel is that the erotic figures, particularly on the juncture walls of the 3 Sandhara temples, the important major temples of Khajuraho, they have multiple functions. They are magico-protective, as other sculptures also at other places. Then they give delight to people, as the Shilpa Prakasha says. They also hide a similar yantra like Kamakala yantra, possibly. But above all these functions, there is also a possibility that through this, the use of Sandhya Bhasha, that is the twilight language, you know, with the code language of the Tantrikas, which they use, you know, they use code language to say something which sounds very erotic. But actually it is not erotic. They are trying to tell the, so that the non-initiated would understand what they are trying to say. Only the initiated, the Dikshita would understand. They are trying to say something for even say about Kundalini